All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we've got another Zelda Tears of the Kingdom news video for you guys. 2023 is officially the year of Zelda. And if you've been remotely paying attention over the last few weeks, you probably know a lot of news about Tears of the Kingdom has come out for a variety of reasons. Not only are we getting a ton of official pre-launch intel from Nintendo and other various inside gaming sources, but the entire game actually leaked recently after someone got a cartridge early and of course uploaded the entire thing online for those willing. But so far, everything that we've heard about the long-awaited sequel to Breath of the Wild has been wildly positive, and in this video we're going to be going over all of the developments regarding Nintendo Zelda and what to expect in the near future, as well as the further out future, both from the upcoming game and the franchise as a whole. Guys, I'm giving away a Zelda Switch OLED. If you guys would like to win, tune in to my marathon stream that is going to be taking place now officially a day before the game comes out. To enter, all you have to do is go over to my Twitch channel and hit the follow button, and then join my Discord and then submit proof that you're following in my Zelda OLED giveaway channel. So despite the game's launch being still a few days away, we actually have a bit of intel on what to expect on launch day. Despite Nintendo being a pretty old school kind of company, Tears of the Kingdom will apparently have a day one patch that will have a drastic impact on performance in a good way. According to those who have experienced the game early thanks to the countless leaks, the base 1.0 version of Tears of the Kingdom has a handful of performance issues due to the ridiculous size of the game's world, due to the obvious technical limitations of the Switch's hardware. A lot of corners had to be cut to get this game running at 30 FPS, but apparently this day one patch will do great things for performance, making it much smoother and far more consistent than the 1.0 version. The patch is allegedly going to be 370 megabytes, and it's already installed for anyone who pre-ordered the digital version of the game, which is how some people have already managed to figure out what it does. So when you boot up Tears of the Kingdom on May 12th, don't be concerned about that patch because it's all good stuff. That's actually how this story ended up breaking the first time, is whenever people preloaded the game, they noticed that the version was already at 1.1.0, and according to many people, this update is actually game changing. So I'm sure most of the media that had access to the game a while ago, because Nintendo sent it to them for review purposes, this 1.1.0 update will likely address a lot of their concerns that they would have in their review. Now I could go on a tangent about this whole situation, but if this day one patch tells me anything about this game as well as the Nintendo Switch, it's one, it's Nintendo knows how to make a game launch correctly, and two, the need for a new and more powerful Nintendo Switch has never been more real. I've always said that Tears of the Kingdom is either going to be the last big game on the Nintendo Switch that we currently know, or it will be the first. Well, since we're not going to be getting a new Switch for a little bit, this is likely going to be the last game on the Nintendo Switch, which I think is really exciting. Now, although the amount of leaks surrounding the game is worth discussing, I can practically guarantee that Nintendo is going to be doing a lot more legwork in the future to try to prevent this from happening again to their next big game. Now, for those of you that don't know, in case you missed it, roughly about a week and a half ago, some physical copies of Tears of the Kingdom started making their way into people's hands in a handful of different ways. But then a couple of those people decided to upload the game files online, allowing anyone on the internet to download the game and start playing it via a Switch emulator on their PC or on a hacked Switch. Now, on one hand, Nintendo probably should have expected this to happen when they let a bunch of early copies go out in the wild, which, I mean, realistically, these were likely going to retailers. Maybe they were intercepted at a warehouse, but it has to be a little frustrating from their perspective when people start getting access to the game before they intended. Nintendo has been doing their best to take down any and all leaked content possible, which I commend them for, but they also have a bad habit of getting a little too trigger happy whenever it comes to DMCA. So this entire situation turned into a big mess. So just so you're aware, if you try to play Tears of the Kingdom early through a homebrew or any other PC related means, Nintendo may try to take you down for it and do it publicly, so proceed with caution. I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to be the dude who dumped the game files online, because Nintendo is probably going to send an enemy AC-130 filled with Koopas to your freaking house. Now, for all of you that are waiting to play Tears of the Kingdom on launch, but you still want to see some more official information from Nintendo, well, I've got some great news for you. Nintendo confirmed recently that they're going to be hosting a big Treehouse live stream on May 11th at 6:45 PT. The stream is reportedly going to be split up into 4 sections, each with new gameplay demonstrations of Tears of the Kingdom, and the stream will end at the midnight release of the game, which I have to say, I love that format. The fact that Nintendo is going to basically do a Treehouse live up until the midnight launch is so cool. So if you guys want to see as much as the game as possible pre-launch without watching any of the leaked content, be sure to tune into that stream. It's no secret that Tears of the Kingdom is seriously pushing the Switch's hardware to its absolute limit, and according to a number of industry insiders, Nintendo is actually more or less counted on that. The general consensus right now is that the Switch will be succeeded by a new piece of Nintendo hardware that is currently being referred to as simply the Switch 2, or if you're an OG to the Switch community, then the Switch Pro, and many sources are expecting it to be announced later this year at a Nintendo Direct. Now, given the fact that Nintendo Nintendo first launched the Nintendo Switch on March of 2017, it seems perfectly reasonable for Nintendo to be looking to follow it up with a new console around the same time, but next year. But it's very likely that the new system will be very similar to the Switch in design, meaning treat this as a mid-generation refresh rather than a brand new console. It's still going to be a handheld slash home console hybrid, and it will be fully backwards compatible with the original Switch as well as the Nintendo Switch Online service. All of your saves are going to be able to transfer over. Think of it like the 3DS mid-generation refreshes. Now, small details alluding to development of the Switch 2 or Switch Pro have leaked throughout the last few months, including some job posting that seem to suggest that Nintendo is working on something, but at this point all roads seem to lead to a new Nintendo Switch console. The Switch is a great system. It's one of my favorite Nintendo consoles ever, outside of the Nintendo GameCube, because I just love the GameCube. But nobody, not even Nintendo, can deny its technical shortcomings, and as much as Nintendo likes to ignore things like resolution and frame rate, they can't ignore them forever. Personally, I'm expecting the Switch 2 to be revealed later this year, perhaps at a fall or winter Nintendo Direct showcase, and then it will launch sometime in 2024 to meet those holiday sales. My guess is they're going to try to release it before the end of fiscal Q4, which if you're Nintendo, that ends on March 31st. Now, it's possible that we get a big game first-party title for holiday season this year, but honestly, I would not expect any major first-party titles from Nintendo to come out before the launch of a new piece of hardware, because I think it's extremely likely that Tears of the Kingdom is the last major Switch exclusive before the console is replaced with something new. Now, I've got a theory, and if I'm correct, then I think that Nintendo is going to use Tears of the Kingdom to heavily promote the new Nintendo Switch console. Right now, Tears of the Kingdom, as far as we know, runs great on the current Nintendo Switch, somewhere around 900p at 30 FPS, similar to Breath of the Wild. Now, what my thoughts are is Nintendo is going to announce the new Switch, and alongside that announcement, they're going to say, hey, if you want to play Tears of the Kingdom at the best quality and frame rate, then purchase the Nintendo Switch 2, as that will have an enhanced version of Tears of the Kingdom specific to that console. Now, alongside the enhanced version of Tears of the Kingdom, they also announced the first or second DLC pack for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So that way, instead of having to launch a brand new console with a brand new game, they have an enhanced version of one of their best from the last console. Next up, I'd like to talk about review predictions for Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I am definitely expecting Tears of the Kingdom to receive critical acclaim. Game critics tend to be big fans of Zelda games, and Breath of the Wild ended up with a 97 out of 100 Metacritic once everything was all said and done. Tears of the Kingdom may share a lot of things with Breath of the Wild, but it elevates the gameplay and the world building in amazing ways, so I'm expecting it to receive similar praise from critics and journalists. Breath of the Wild featured a brand new art style and gameplay loop for the Legend of Zelda franchise, and I think that kind of new experience helped it push it up a couple of points in the Metascore, and obviously Tears of the Kingdom won't have that to go off of, but I think the overall advancements made to the gameplay will more than make up for it. Overall, I'm expecting the game to score mid to high 90s and probably end up setting around 96 or 97 Metascore, but that's just my thoughts. I'm definitely curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section, so give me your Metascore predictions down in the comments. Now, the big question at this point for me is, where does The Legend of Zelda go from here? Breath of the Wild was a great return to form, while also being an excellent adaptation to the times, bringing The Legend of Zelda into the modern era of open world games. Tears of the Kingdom has an amazing escalation of the previous game's skeleton, featuring an even bigger world with even more gameplay possibilities. But where does Zelda go with the next game? Can Nintendo possibly make the game even bigger? Perhaps with improved hardware of the Switch 2, they'll actually be able to make the next Zelda game even larger and more immersive entry in the series. But on the other side of the coin, we may see the next mainline game end up being a massive change of pace and size. What if the next Zelda game goes all the way back to being a top-down game like Link to the Past? Or maybe it ends up being something smaller scale. You could only go bigger and bigger so many times before you have to come up with a new strategy, and honestly, I think Nintendo's next move is going to be a reduction in size and scope rather than another increase. It's probably going to be another 5 to even 6 years before Nintendo announces another Zelda game. Maybe it'll be 3 years if we're lucky. I just don't think Nintendo is going to go bigger for the next one, as that doesn't really seem their style. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on. Don't forget to enter the Zelda Switch OLED giveaway on my Twitch. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.